every new store I walk into, the first thought in my head is, well, I just caught COVID. So I don't see myself going to a show anytime soon.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Pointless Discourse with myself, Hoppocalypse, and Discourse.
Oh shoot, I was on the wrong tab. Asama and Tam, which is hello, formally and informally, in Oromo, which is in Ethiopia. I also think my fan is perfectly blowing on my mic and getting picked up. I saw it on the Audacity Wibble Wobbles, so I'm going to waddle over while you say whatever you say next.
Usually I'd say announcements, but I did not look around to see if we have any announcements. Usually in this part is where we share if anyone's left us ratings, reviews, or interacted with us on social media. Do we have any of those this week, Discourse?
No, because the episode that we might have gotten things, because it's Memorial last weekend, it wasn't Memorial Day, 4th of July weekend, and I forgot to post that the episode went live, so
that's okay. It was the weekend. Also, I guess in the timeline of things, people could have rated and done stuff in previous episodes, but we're recording into the future, so I guess it's a little tough.
Yes, with you know what, in the middle of August we'll be somewhat closer to the current timeline.
So if we miss you at all and you're like, it's been episodes and they haven't mentioned us, let us know on Twitter so we don't miss you, because we don't want to not thank you, because we do have 2 people that reviewed us as 5-star ratings on Apple Podcasts. They didn't put their names, so we can't thank them, but we appreciate it.
I'm looking right now to see if we have a third.
Yeah, so
as my face is glowing.
While you look into that, the only other thing I was going to say is this is us wrapping up Season 1 of Better Off Ted. We've done it. We've made it through 13 episodes of watching it, and Itisdpayne did not give up just because it was a sitcom. He made it.
I gave up on other things. Like trying to get my camera not to make me look like I'm glowing.
Lighting is always the worst.
The way I fix it now is I have dim mode on Twitter, and so I have Twitter up right now while all the bright things are on my other monitors.
Well, I did try and make the stuff darker for the Google Docs, but does that not really help for where I put the questions?
No, it works. Like I just look on my other screen over here.
Gotcha.
But there is one announcement that we can chat about. Because it's happening, well, for us next week and everyone else next week, is our next little series that we're doing.
Yes.
So yeah, we pretty much back, I think, in May or April. When did we start this?
I know we could probably go through the Google Drive, our spreadsheet, and look at...
May.
Okay.
May 30th is when we started this. And so we had to be talking about it in April. And we pretty much decided, hey, how come Christmas gets 2 months? Why can't Halloween? And so we're like, hey, what if we make it 3 months?
Yeah, we had plans for 2, and then we weren't sure what to fill in between, and then we decided a way to make it into 3 months. We actually kind of have it into 4, don't we, at this point?
Yeah, because of the quick switch.
Yeah, because we snuck in some other fun movies in November.
Guys, a bit of a spoiler. When we get to November, I want everyone to know when we announce what's for November, it was the most joy I've seen Hop show in a while. With her, it was just a constant like just giggles of like, "Wait, we're gonna be in for a treat."
Yes, one of my little things that I used to be really into was watching very cheesy B-grade sci-fi movies. So I don't.
It's not Sharknado.
Yeah, I don't like Sharknado. That can be another discussion. We can talk about why we don't like Sharknado maybe in the future if you tell us to.
Never.
But yeah, so the other thing I wanted to squeeze in is if right now we don't have plans of diving into season 2 of Better Off Ted, if you do enjoy this and want to see us watch season 2 as well and talk about the different episodes and things, you can let us know at twitter.com/pointlessdisco, or if you have movies or other things that you want to suggest for us to look into next, because unfortunately it would be next year.
It is
probably literally next year.
As I joked with somebody yesterday, I said Hop and I have planned up to next year, so we're contractually bound to be friends until the middle of next year. It will be up for contract once again.
Yeah, because so we have movie plans from August through till December,
the end of the
January,
year.
yes. And then we have what series we're going to dive into next after those movies, to take a break from movies.
And let's just say we're really excited what we're going to be putting out in the next year. And so
I like where we've started and how we ended up being a media thing. Oh yeah, we should update our description in that.
Yep.
And our category?
Probably, yeah, because I think we're just comedy or entertainment. I don't know. We'll have to look into that.
Yeah.
But anyway, we spoke around it, but next week we are starting on. Should we say what the whole series is?
No, I'd say we're just gonna say which franchise we're starting off with and let the people guess what's coming up after that.
Here, I'm gonna send you a quick message real quick to make sure
we're on the same page.
Yeah. But
no, I think just say which franchise we're gonna start with. Like I literally just what we start with, and then I feel like anyone who knows enough about either of the two should easily connect what we're gonna go into next.
Yeah, and then the other thing is, well, once we get to the middle, it will be very obvious. But anyway, we are going through the Predator series. So Predator, Predator 2, Predators, and The Predator. So that will take us all throughout August, and that's going to be pretty much the first third of our 3-month Halloween 4-month Halloween extravaganza.
Yeah, because we made specific plans for the 2 months, and then we said, what should we do before the 2 months? And then that led into Predator. So there's your little hint for anybody who likes to sleuth things out.
Or, you know what, I just realized I kind of did spoil it in the middle of Better Off Ted. And you're like, spoilers.
Oh.
And so you'll just have to go back and look through. Because guess what? I know I said it, but I don't remember what it was.
That's fine.
I don't remember which episode or where it is.
If we had anything to give away, like if we had sponsors, this would be a fun time to be like, the first person to guess the franchise after Predator, right, gets a blah, 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 blah. But Wawa hasn't sponsored us yet.
Yeah, Wawa. You know, if we keep doing horror movies, there's like a horror movie Netflix. I forget what it's called.
Is that the same one that... No, the one that we watched, the one you recommended last Halloween, that's just a general movie streaming service, right? Not specifically for horror. The one that the New Zealand, Australian, I forget where. Where was the house arrest movie?
Homebound or Housebound or something.
Yeah, but I can't remember. I know we didn't watch that on any of the normal streaming services. That was on like a different one.
I don't remember either. Let's see.
Was it Tubby?
Might have been.
I don't know. Whatever, however it should be pronounced.
Hold on, we might. Let's see. It might still be there. No, we don't have. I don't have the link for that. But so it's really funny though, just looking at our like horror movie stuff, like just just Halloween in general. So like when we first started the podcast, when we first came to Halloween, we did a special Halloween thing where it was a spin-off of another conversation where we we went and like talked about certain Halloween monsters.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had so much fun that we're like, hey, let's, which was last year, go and pretty much put out more podcast episodes than we have ever put out in one timeline. And I think almost killed ourselves.
Yeah, we almost burnt out completely on that because we knew what we wanted to do, but we didn't give ourselves a time frame to do it.
Mm-hmm. And so we learned with that, and we're like, okay, but now we just spread Halloween out to 4 months. So, but yeah. So yeah, we're gonna be starting off Predator. Yeah. I guess we should also figure out how we're going to, because I think it's not going to be the same, and we'll get into the next week, but it's not going to be exactly the same. But I know we talked about we're going to at least come up with like some sort of like not grading, but stuff to at least mark it to remember it, because
yeah, I think we had said before, because I know before for our last Halloween tier bracket, we had like very specific things that we expect to see in general horror movies. But since Predator as a series is its own specific thing, I think I was kind of leaning more towards that idea of after we watch the first Predator, we'll kind of make note of like, all right, when it comes to the Predator, these are the 5 things we can think that are like what make a Predator movie different than other movies. Mm-hmm. So, because then at least within the series, we can go, did Predator 2 make a Predator movie, or did they make a movie and then put the name Predator on it? Because that's a problem I've always had with movies coming out with more than 3. Sometimes 3 are fine, sometimes 2 is bad.
Well, if I'm remembering correctly, I'm going to put this out now, because like I don't, if I watched Predator 2, it was a while ago.
Okay.
But I believe in Predator 2, there's a scene, and I can't remember if this is just something I randomly heard or remember, but I think there's a scene where because in Predator 2, I think there's multiple predators running around in a city.
Okay.
There's a part where our protagonist is like kind of sneaking around and turns the corner and just sees this like blown up wall, and then just predators like dancing. And like they're dancing like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh no, I'm not. I wish you didn't tell me, so I wouldn't be paying attention for that. We shall see, though. But
Don't worry. By the time we actually get there, we'll see. If we remember, because there's going to be a little bit of time. John skis between that. But anyway, we're not here to talk about Halloween yet. We got to finish this magical adventure that we call Better Off Ted.
Yes. So at this point, we can go ahead and roll dice and see what order we go in to talk about it. Again, like I said, this is the final episode of Season 1. If you want to hear us talk about all the other episodes, go back a handful. I can't tell you exactly how many, because we had some combined episodes where we talked about multiple episodes in one podcast, but it's all labeled. It's all titled.
Yes, it's all in the things.
So now we roll our dice to see who gets to do the synopsis for this episode. I rolled on my dice rolling app on my phone. Which dice did you roll today?
I rolled the sky die, and I was rolling really, really well if I was playing D&D. And then I was like, do I want to go with that number? And then you said, well, it's like when the test taker's like, okay, now we're officially starting. And it was only slightly smaller.
Make sure your pencils are all sharpened, because the timer is starting.
Oh, wait, it's supposed to be sharp. Sorry, this one has smooth corners. I rolled the same number on a different die.
It's
okay.
meant to be.
Yeah, I rolled a 16.
I rolled a 13.
Aha! Joke's on you, because my first roll was a 19. Alrighty. So, I lost the Wikipedia page. There it is. So, final episode. Pretty much, here's the overview part of the episode. Woo! So yeah, pretty much it starts off with them in a meeting, where they pretty much make the NSA in a box, and they are able to scan anyone's face, and it will show all digitally recorded, I guess, things of over everything.
Yeah, but basically reverse image searching, which my first question is kind of like how I felt when I watched it, so I'm not going to bring it up until you finish your synopsis.
So yeah, they do that, and as an example, they put Veronica's face in there, and it's just showing a few different pictures, and then at the end there is one with her as a magician assistant, and doing I think as we go on, I don't think I can't remember if the pictures show anything like risque. If they do, it's like we don't see it, but like the more and more we go on, it's like it learns that there's a little bit more involved with that show. But anyway, they find out that Veronica is this assistant to a magician, and in doing that, they everyone in the company starts making fun of her and just like asking her to do all these magic tricks and everything, and it starts making her like just stress out that she's like not getting the same respect that she used to where she calls Mordor, the magician, stage name, that Mordor the Unforgiving is his full name, and that he's that she's no longer going to do the stuff. And this is when Ted kind of gets involved and kind of is the go-between and convinces Veronica to pretty much, hey, keep doing this as something you enjoy, and just say heck with everybody. And so they go and do that, and I think there's a little bit back and forth of just all this other stuff, and apparently there's a lot more sexual stuff that happens between Mordor and Veronica. Like I think it's like, hey, they kind of hint like, yeah, there's a whole bunch of pre-show ritual stuff, and it's like, are we doing this with him here, or is he leaving? And Ted's like, I'm gonna leave.
Yeah, I think Mordor says like, you can either leave or get yourself a book and sit in the corner. And Ted's like, yeah, I'm gonna go.
I'm gonna go, and then just kind of gives Veronica a smile, as it just kind of just just like, yep. And then they go do the show while like all the people trying to like, oh, we got dirt on Veronica, shows up, and then just get their minds blown during the magic show, and she's like, woohoo, this is awesome. Side story B, which I just remembered, is Linda is once again trying to make Ted jealous. Not so much jealous, just to kind of get him off the market.
Yeah, she's trying to deal with how she feels about Ted in the wrong way.
Yeah. And so she brings one of her friends to be like, pretty much to date Ted. And at first it's a little bit awkward and everything, and then in normal Ted fashion, they hit it off, and they really like each other. And I think at the end of this episode, Linda breaks up with, I forgot the boyfriend's name. Don. And then to reveal that she's like, to where she's about to tell Ted, and because she's like, no, pretty much what I've been saying this whole episode, or whole kind of series.
Leading up, yeah.
Yeah. And she turns around and finds out that by the time she figured stuff out, she already kind of ruined it for herself, to where Ted is now dating whatever her face is.
Rebecca.
I don't remember their names. Like, she's only in there for like 20 seconds, no, like at most like 3 minutes. But yeah, so it is interesting, like, with all that. And so,
and there's another little tiny subplot, the Phil one.
Oh, I'm trying to remember what Phil did.
I'll just jump in. So the one where Phil.
Yes. I just saw it, where he finds someone else that looks just like him who has a better life, and he's like, it's all about confidence. And in Phil and Lem fashion, they do a scientist experiment, and yeah, there's results to the part where Phil is like, nah, I don't think that's life for me.
All right, so then how did you feel about this episode overall?
I thought the ending was interesting. Like the ending I think was like the best part of it, because it kind of progressed story wise of like the whole overarching story. But looking back at it, it was just like kind of, here's story A, story B, story C, here's a little thing with Rose, and just like get all our characters in for the last episode. And
yeah, it did feel like it kind of fit, but it kind of felt like none of them had to happen at that particular episode. It was just like they were all loosely within the timeline of it all.
Yeah, like I think it, like, and I don't know, in my head I was like, I could see this happening like an Always Sunny, where Linda set up Rebecca and Ted, and she, like, I could see very easily an episode, like later in an episode, she's out with Dom at the same restaurant spying on them.
That's the Always Sunny take for sure. Yeah. I thought she was going to offer them a double date at first.
Yeah. And then like just that very awkward stuff, but it's like Better Off Ted, like there are scenes outside the office, but there isn't a ton. Like a lot of stuff happens in the office. Like I think this episode is the most that stuff happens where we're not actually in the office proper. Because for the most part we're at the magician show.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. So yeah, so then I'll go ahead and start jumping into my questions. So my first one is, did it feel like a little bit of a time machine where they were acting like it was sci-fi that they could reverse image search?
A little. It was just funny. There's been a few times in here I'm like, that already exists. When they're like, we made this, and I'm like, that's already there, buddies. But it's just funny. Yeah, reverse image search. It's just like, we can do that with Google.
Yeah, because it's funny because like other times they're like, oh, we made hovering shoes, we made like stuff that never catches on fire, or plates that do catch on fire. You're like, oh, that's so outside the realm of possibility. And they're like, we can reverse image search. And I was like, oh, if only you knew.
If only that was still a thing.
How much did you enjoy Dr. Bomba shouting, we've defeated privacy?
I was like, oh man, NSA, there he goes, buddy.
Dr. Bomba always has like the worst thing to say at the right time.
Yeah. I wish Dr. Bomba was more of like I think he's probably in there the perfect amount of time, because I think if he was in there shouting like random things, he would just be like, okay, he's that token character that's just like
a lot.
Yeah. But I think he's in there, like his role definitely increases throughout the second half of the show.
Yeah, because like they introduced him and then they didn't bring him back, and now it feels like he's a pretty central comedy relief in the different episodes.
Yeah. Well, he just seems like that guy that doesn't want to, like, everyone's like, okay, this guy's a little eccentric, and then like he just says things, and you're just like, okay, because like in the very beginning they say that Phil and Lem are like the A team.
Yeah, they're like the head scientists in their department.
But it's like the more you like learn and everything, like Dr. Bomba like also is like probably on par.
Yeah, he's just in a different section because what is it? Oh yeah, because Veronica mentions in the episode where the human computer hybrid starts leaking. She said that's another department's job, which Dr. Bomba was ahead of.
Yeah, and it's part of me is like wondering is Dr. Bomba like has the same intelligence like ability as Phil and Lem, but like he can do it all by himself, but the trade-off is that he's like a little bit more crazy, while Phil and Lem, like, it's the two of them working together and they're able to get to the same thing. Dr. Bomba can do that by himself, but he's like a Lovecraftian scientist that's seen past the veil and is going a little bit crazy.
Possibly, because Phil and Lem do a lot. Like you said, it's almost like they are one character because they're kind of both halves of a conscious. While Dr. Bomba is just like, oh, there's a money deal. I am the bad guy.
Yeah. It's very much a reanimator. He is, at least in the book, I'm forgetting all their names, but Dr. Bomba is the one who is like, no, man, we can definitely bring bodies back to life. While Phil and Lem is where the story is told from that perspective. It's just like, I wasn't fully on board with this, but I was intrigued by science, so I kept going.
Yeah. So, were you surprised by the type of dirt they found on Veronica? That it was a magician assistant out of anything else?
I thought it was funny.
Yeah, because like right before that, she's like, they're like, that guy in the picture at the restaurant doesn't look good. She's like, yeah, he died. And
Yeah.
like, she's like, no remorse. And then they show her as the magician's assistant, and everyone's like, what's going on? She's like, I have to leave.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, she's not afraid to be shown as ruthless or heartless towards people, but it's just like, oh no, people can see me actually enjoying myself.
Yeah, a side of me that isn't the super straight-laced, super business-oriented, all that.
Pillow shooting.
I do have a question relating to that in a little bit, but before that one, how did you feel when you found out he went by the stage name Mordor?
I think if I didn't click through the wiki and saw that there was a character named Mordor, I would have been like, oh my gosh, because I literally just finished reading the books. But it's just, it kind of just makes me laugh just hearing him being called Mordor the Unforgiving. Because it's just like,
Yeah, what's
man.
Veronica's line? She's like, man, I hope he forgives me, but his name is Mordor the Unforgiving, but he'll probably hear me out.
Yeah, and it's really funny because of just, like, in the book, like, they in the movies of Lord of the Rings, they explain a little bit of Mordor and just like you see it, but like in the books, it's so much worse. Like, I'm like, I don't even know how orcs are living in here, because they're just like going through and they're like, yeah, there's water, but it's like poison water, and like we just need to make sure that you can find like, and like when you do find good water, it just tastes like ash and dust, but it's better than nothing. And like all it is just rocks that you can hide under to make sure that you can sneak around, and just, it's like, this is terrible.
Yeah, and then I think what Veronica's stage name was Athena. I think he only says it like briefly where he's like introducing her to stage, or no, the scene that you were talking about when he goes in, he's like, it's time for our pre-show ritual, Athena, and Ted's like, what's happening?
I'm seeing if it's written here in the wiki anywhere. Oh,
Oh, go ahead.
I said I was just gonna keep looking.
Okay.
But no, you can keep going.
Yeah, I was gonna say I won't be surprised if it's not, because it just seems like it was kind of like dropped in like a very small like hint of it. It wasn't really brought up much in the episode.
Yeah, but I don't know, the guy whoever wrote. By the way, if we do if we do season 2, we can't use this wiki because I looked. None of the episodes have descriptions.
Oh, they didn't upkeep it?
No. And it's like a lot, because I was confused because I clicked on season 2, and the season 2, a lot of them use the same pictures as season 1.
Oh, yeah. Then I'll start putting in the summary before my questions. So we at least have that guideline for if we go into season 2.
Yeah.
But all right, so I'm gonna assume they didn't sneak the nickname or her stage name in there, since season 2 wasn't even filled out. So then,
let's see it.
I think this is a fun question for you. Which one seems like a healthier stress relief for Veronica? Slapping people or shooting a silenced gun into a pillow?
I think she liked slapping people a lot.
I said healthier. I didn't say which one she likes better.
Well, silencing the gun into the pillow, for the most part, isn't causing physical harm to others.
Yeah.
And so that on itself probably as a C, which I think Ted even brings up, is just like, this is also getting to the part where we might have to bring it up to HR.
Yeah,
just hitting people.
I like how she he comes up to Veronica and he's like, people don't like it. She's like, too bad. And he's like, you might get fired. And she's like,
Isn't he also like, don't you slap me?
Yeah, her hand starts doing the thing. She's like, the hand wants what the hand wants. And Ted's like, don't do it. And then she does it, and Ted immediately slaps her back. And she's like, okay,
Yep.
We're even.
Yep. But yeah, I think just the fact that the gun, even though is cause mental strain for everybody else that would be in that room, it doesn't really cause physical or
distress.
Really, because it seems like nobody knows that she shoots the gun. Like Ted only knows
Ted
because
happened, yeah.
And so
I did think it was a funny progression. She goes from snapping a pencil to being unable to snap her phone to then like the guy who is, I don't know why he works there because he's really bad at delivering mail, but he
because what did they say in the beginning where it's just like, oh yeah, everyone's got a secret, and it's like where the mail guy thinks he's a gangster. It's like, yo, what's up, got your mail. And it's just like that character literally just put in to get hit.
Yeah. And then I think it was so bad for the coffee guy where she's like, I want anything but Dutch blend. He's like, I only have Dutch blend. And she slaps him. He's like, oh, what?
It's funny, in Veronica's little description here on the wiki, the last sentence is, I'll have to bring it up.
Okay.
One more time. Oh, I lost it. It says her last line, dislikes the Dutch for some reason.
That's right, because she had the other episode in this season where she talks about like other Christmas traditions on all the things they do and why it's so weird. And Linda was like, oh, it's the one when her she found out her dad is passing away. So she was complaining to Linda about the Dutch, and Linda was like, how about we talk about your dad instead?
Yeah, I think it's like an ongoing joke that I thought there was other things, but I can't remember.
Okay. Yeah, but no, I agree. I think even though it's not good for her to have a silence gun in her office, at least shooting it into the pillow is something that's private for her to do, and not someone just walking up to her and her slapping them because she doesn't like what they said. Like the guy like, I can't fix your computer, and then she slaps him and goes, what about now? Like, he couldn't fix it before.
So I went on like the IMDb, and like the guy who plays Ted is like now has a beard. And it's just like he's still the same body frame, and like he's in like action TV shows now.
Interesting.
Yeah, let's see. He was an American Red Reunion. Hold on, let's see. He's in the TV show SWAT. The trailer for the IMDb, he was just right in front. Let's see. It's funny because here, I'll send you the page real quick.
When you said beard, I was imagining like long beard, not just like
it's
typical
still like,
action guy beard.
Yeah, like I don't know. IMDb, and it's still there. Yeah, it's funny because he just looks like Ted with a beard. Like if Ted had a beard, that's what he would look like. But that's not the reason I went to the IMDb. I was wondering who played Mordor.
The magician.
Yeah, because I was just wondering, like, is he tied somehow to?
It probably would be a while to find him, right? Because he would only be on one episode. Mm-hmm. Okay, I scrolled to the bottom, and this is at the point where it's man at urinal, uncredited. And I was like, oh, I've gotten too far. Screaming office worker? Oh, that's the guy from the first episode, isn't it?
Yeah. Who's she? Oh, Sheila's the...
Ernie is the male guy. I got to that point. Rebecca is the... Linda's friend.
Let's see.
That's one of the Japanese scientists who is like, it makes things better. And they're like, what does it do? Yes.
Who would have thought that it would have been so hard to find the word Mordor? Rebecca is only in one episode. Glad she made it to season 2.
And spoilers. No, that's fine. Jokes. Lucy's only in one episode. Surprise.
Which one was Lucy?
The girl that
is that the?
Oh, I'm
the
blanking on
person
his name. The one where they shared
Lem?
offices. Yes, Lem. I was gonna say Lou. I was like, it's not Lou. Oh, Mordor's in 2 episodes.
Yeah, that's like I was wondering
Mark
if he was...
Declan.
I gotta go to 2.
He's in Designated Survivor. And
I
Hawaii
heard of
Five-0.
Oh, I definitely heard of that.
And Blue Bloods.
Dr. Bamba. Oh, no, I want to see what else he's in. What am I getting? There it is. Yep. Oh, yeah, I remember Designated Driver. Yeah, I was just more wondering why they chose the name Mordor. Like, what was the... Oh, he's in Rainbow Six. Yeah. Ooh, excuse me. Yeah. So, no, that was it. Maz Jobrani is the guy who plays Dr. Bamba, and he's in another show called oh, it disappeared. It's like Donut Time or something.
So if you scroll through the list of
Superior
actors,
Donuts. Sorry.
Okay, if you scroll through the list of actors, I think it's funny that the actors for Phil and Lem have almost matching headshots for their IMDb's.
1 second.
And then when on mobile right now, they're like listed right next to each other, so it's extra noticeable for me. Let me send you on Discord. But they both have like suit and ties and are like looking at the camera and look
I
very
see it
serious.
and holding their
tie. Yeah. In comparison to their actual characters on the show, it's like, wait a second.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So then where did we also leave off on questions?
I'll admit, John, the guy who plays Phil, looks a lot more put together in his headshot than he does in this TV show.
It really does. So do you remember all the things that Veronica listed off as what it takes to be a good magician's assistant? She had a long list, so I don't blame you if you don't remember.
No, but like I remember there was like a few in there that were thrown in as like kind of just shock factor.
Yeah.
And it was just like
some of them, it was like smart, beautiful, know the tricks, make sure he stays alive. And it was like using ice, and I was like, ice for what? And all that stuff. So do you think you could be a magician's assistant?
I don't think I can even be a magician.
Let alone the assistant.
Let alone the assistant. There's no way I'm fitting in that suit.
Yeah, I don't think I could do it either, because the other thing, once they actually show the magic act, it's very showy to help distract people from, the illusions that are happening.
Mm-hmm.
The magician would be like, all right, you have to be flashy and distract people. I'd be like, no, you do that. And it's like, no, you're the assistant, you're the eye candy, you're supposed to distract people and help me distract people. No. No, thank you.
It's like I think I would be comfortable on stage, but doing that I would not be. Like either not doing the assistant or the actual magician part.
Yeah. Do you think if you were at the magician show, do you think you would enjoy what they put together, Mordor and Veronica?
I don't know.
It was very flashy, right?
It was flashy and it was quick, but it's just like the way, I don't know, like is just the whole show. Like I don't think I would actually enjoy it all that much. But at the same time, I don't think they show you the whole show.
Obviously not, because she mentions the thing with the milk and them needing ponchos, and I was kind of concerned that I was gonna have to see Phil and Lem get splashed with milk, and I was like, I don't know if I'm mentally ready for that.
Yeah, and so yeah, so like I don't know if it's like I'm trying to think if I would actually go to like not even that magician show. Like would I go and watch a magic show? And like I do think the craft, like the people who do magic, is interesting and all that, but it's just
Not for you.
yeah. Like I was saying this on my stream today. I'm like, if I ever go to a new store, like I had to go to Kohl's this past week to return an Amazon package, and it's the first time I've been there in like probably a year. Every new store I walk into, the first thought in my head is, well, I just caught COVID. So I don't see myself going to a show anytime soon.
All right, what about pre-COVID? Do you think you and the...
I don't know. I think it just honestly would depend, like, who I
If you
got
had a
invited.
group, if a fun group was like, let's go, you'd be like, all right. But if someone was like, do you want to go? You'd be like, no.
Yeah, by myself, probably not. But, like, I don't know. If I'm also very much the person's just like, oh, leave my house to go do something by myself. And I'm like, why? Why go and sit alone when I can just stay at home and get stuff done?
Very fair.
But no, like if it was something where like, I don't know, next PAX Unplugged, you're like, hey, there's a magic show happening over there. Would you want to leave early and like join us and go see it? I'd be like, yeah, sure.
Now I want to see if there's going to be cheesy magic acts. Because, okay, so I don't mean to say that all magic is cheesy, but I feel like if you can get last minute tickets to something in the city that claims it's a magic act, I feel like it's always like a comedy routine mixed in, which kind of makes it feel cheesy to me. I went to a family member's birthday party. I think the kid was maybe turning 1 or 2, but for some reason the parents went all out. And they had like a magician / comedian / clown. And me and my brother still talk about it to this day.
That's a lot of slashes.
Yeah. About like, whose idea? Because at one point he was like doing a magic trick where he was supposed to be making his underwear disappear, but he wanted the crowd to chant panties. I mean,
for a 1-year-old?
Yeah, I mean, my brother were like, is this real? Where in the city are we? Because it was up in New York City. And then he did like this whole jumping routine. And you know how Dr. Bamba has the thing in the show where he has like the infinite napkins out of the pocket, which is a very generic like magic trick. The guy had that, but infinite underwear out of his pant leg. And we were like,
someone's getting yelled at later. Okay, this brings up something else that I heard about this week. So one of the guys at work, his son is turned 1 this past weekend. And his wife put on a party where I think they spent $300 or $500 alone on a cake. All right.
Do you want my opinion on that?
I can probably tell what your opinion is. Just when you're like, really?
Well, for the audio listeners, I don't think they can hear me cringe.
Go ahead. Yeah. What is your opinion just on that?
The motto my family's always had, or at least my brother and his kids, and then my sister and her kids, was they're not going to remember it.
Exactly.
Like, I understand if they like turn 5 or 6 and they ask for something, yes, do it. Do whatever they ask for, because at that point they've decided what they want for their birthday and it creates memories for them. Like one of my nephew's birthdays, my sister called it, was like, can you find a place that'll make a cake that looks like Bendy from the you know what I'm talking about, the game that's like in the Mickey Mouse art style, but it's like a horror game.
The ink thing?
Yeah, the ink thing. Okay. And so I called a bakery and I was like, hey, I know you don't really do like fancy cakes, but can you just take like a regular circle cake, cut it into the shape of the character, and then do like a cookies and cream cake? And he was like, this is the best cake I've ever seen. But like at that point he asked for it, versus like, I understand celebrating your child's birthday. That's fine. But when it gets that expensive or that extravagant, it comes off to me feeling like you're showing off to other parents more than you are celebrating your kid.
Yeah, it's like that's the same thing I told like my friend. He was like you spent $100 on your first daughter's birthday, and now you're spending all this money for. He's like, is there one you love more? And like he was just saying that, but yeah, it's one of those things I don't understand. Like, I understand, yeah, have a birthday party, but I don't understand throwing like this huge, especially when they're not even gonna remember. Like one of the guys at my church, his it's the same week as or same day as Charity Palooza, so I'm not gonna be able to make it. But like their firstborn is turning 1, and they're like, yeah, we're having a party for her, and like everyone's invited. Don't bring presents. And like some people are like, oh, but how can we not bring presents? Like there's 2 people in the group chat, and like, oh, like is that to say don't bring presents but do? Or and I'm just like, it's a 1-year-old. It literally will not remember. That's why.
Yeah, and like the thing is, like, I understand if you feel like you really want to give something to help the parents out, then a card with some money in it or a gift card to somewhere. Because yeah, like when my mom always taught me if I had to buy kids gifts for like birthdays, and if they're under a year old, she was like, get it for like 6 months older than the kid is, because it's always better for it to be bigger. Plus, people will get stuff for the kid right now, but then they'll grow out of it. So then get them something like a size too big.
Yeah. Like for my brother to get stuff for my niece, I ask him, what do you need? Let me know what you need, and I will get that. Because for people who don't know, my my brother is like he's recently divorced and doesn't have like all the stuff like where he lives. So it's just like, and especially trying to cover child support and potentially saving up money, get a house, and then to hire a lawyer to renegotiate because he did not get a good deal because he didn't listen to people, just to get more time. But it's just like, I'm like, okay, what's something that you need to help him out? And so I do that for him. She's also getting a little bit older, so it's like now she's starting to develop a personality. So, and
you can tell what she actually likes versus just stuff. And I can also see that sometimes when people, I know lately when I've been going to weddings, even then people are like, we don't have a registry. Our registry is just money towards the honeymoon or money towards the house. That's all. Or gift cards. Like those are the only things you can give us. Because for a lot of people, sometimes people give gifts and it's just like, it's just taking up space. Especially for a baby. If the baby's like, I don't like this toy.
Yeah. Well, like, I feel like with weddings now, because a lot of people are getting married later, whether it's they've been in a relationship and been living together, so they already have all the stuff, or people are just like
have a lot more money already like piled away.
Yeah. Or they've been living life by themselves for longer, so they have different things they need. And so it's like, well, we don't need X, Y, and Z. And so it's just like, yeah, if you can just like gift card or a couple bucks, I can understand that. Like, I think if I ever get to that point, it's like I have a lot of cooking
pans,
stuff. Yeah. It's like, funny enough, I'm recently like, I need to replace my pots and pans because they're from my grandmother. and they still work, but it's like I'm slowly replacing them. But yeah, it's just interesting, like just that whole thing.
Yeah, so then I'll veer this back into Better Off Ted, and we'll talk about the relationship subplot then. We'll talk about Ted and Rebecca and Linda and Rose. So then I guess I'll start off with this question where, let's see. I guess I'll start off, did it feel awkward to you when Linda was trying to set up Ted with Rebecca?
I think it's awkward when any time Linda tries to do anything with Ted, even with a desire for romance, not even towards her.
I just like how, like, before Ted could decide whether or not he's ready to date, she was like, oh, look at that, Rebecca just so happens to have walked off the elevator, and Rebecca's like, are you dumb?
Yeah, she's like, oh, this
is how we're doing this.
If anyone did that to me, I would seriously question my friendship with that person.
Yeah, I'd be pretty mad because it'd be like, you didn't give me time to decide. And like Ted said, it's like either we say yes or we have to get rid of Linda. There's no other way out of this. Because if they said no, like Linda's right there and is like putting pressure on them. Then we zoom forward where Linda offers to watch Rose while the two of them go out on their date. And then we find out why Rose is banned from the internet.
I wanted to say, that is the only note I wrote down in my phone, because Rose and Dr. Bomba MVPs of this episode.
Yes, we find out under normal circumstances, Linda, I think, would have been right where Ted said that Rose is grounded from the internet because she did a bad, and Linda, doing a normal adult thing, assumed, oh, did you find stuff on the internet you're not supposed to see? And Ted goes, no, she bought a 12-person boat. And Linda's like, excuse me?
Yeah, I think she bought a boat, and then it was just like, oh, like as a toy, as you said, a 12-person, $2,500,000 boat or something.
I think they said it's $140,000.
Yeah,
because when they're eating breakfast, Rose is scolding Ted for dating the wrong girl, and he's like, I'm not the one that accidentally bought a boat. She's like, that was one mistake. Let's not talk about that. And he said, $140,000 mistake.
Yes.
She's just like, I'm done. Like, leaves.
I think from that I'm like, man, I want more Rose Ted interaction.
It's very fun.
I think those are my favorite episodes.
Yeah, because I like the line, too, where she's like, why aren't you dating Linda? And he goes, well, you see, it's complicated. And Rose goes, I have an opinion on that. And Ted's like, you're a child. I
heard that, and I'm like, this sounds like something Hop would say.
So then so my one question was, did you ever, as a kid, accidentally buy something on the internet?
No.
Yeah, I think
go ahead.
As I was gonna say, I think the only thing I did was I, at the time, had a pirated version of Photoshop because, you're a kid and you want to be able to use it, but you don't. You literally don't have money. I had a version that worked, and then I had people online on forums that were like, you need to get the new version. The new version is so much better. And because I was so anxious to get the new version, I, on LimeWire, didn't pay attention to which file I downloaded. So I had to wipe the computer and try to make it look like nothing bad happened before my family found out.
Yeah, I didn't do anything like that. Fire alarm. Yep. So pretty much for the longest time before I bought my laptop, we had the family computer, and this was on dial-up internet, and I wanted to look at Best Buy. Well, hey everyone, Itisdpayne's not good at spelling. So I wrote Bust Buy.
Oh, I was expecting Breast Buy.
No, I'm trying to think. Well, it's on the same line. But I wrote in Bust Buy, and I remember, and I hit enter on the search thing, and I was just, looking at it. I'm like, I don't think that's right. I didn't click on any sites. I'm just like, I don't think that's right. And then I went back and was like, Best Buy. Then I looked it up. And, I didn't, when I looked it up, didn't know anything. I didn't know about, pornography and all that stuff. So, I told my mom, and, here's the thing, I didn't really even put together at that point
what you accidentally looked up.
Yes, what Bust would have brought me to. And so I told my mom, I'm just like, yeah, I typed in Bust Buy, and then when I wanted to go to Best Buy, just whoopsie mistakes. And my mom had this super serious face on. I'm just like, I did something wrong? Well, I had no clue what I did. And I was like, I didn't see anything. I realized what mistake was and switched. And he's like, you have to be very careful when you search on the internet. And I'm like, well, okay. And that's I don't think they ever did anything with that.
All right. Well, not so bad. Not as bad as buying a whole boat with your parents' money.
It would have been more memorable. I would have gotten in way more trouble.
No. So then, how did you initially react when Rose when Rose asked Linda about why they're not dating? Because it was Ted, walked out the door, and Rose just looked up at Linda and said, all right, why is he on the date with the wrong person?
Yeah, I feel like Rose is well, we need to keep putting this in here. So it's I don't know, it felt like a kid just asking why aren't you dating my dad? And it's I could totally understand that, because it's
because Rose likes Linda.
Rose likes Linda, but Linda has to be reminded that she's dating somebody.
Yeah, Linda was like, you see, there's different points in our lives. Oh wait, I have a boyfriend. Yeah,
and it's and I'm just saying, I know there's this whole thing on the internet that that I think it was a little bit of a meme. Oh man, I know that raising red flags isn't just a recent meme, but it seemed in Recency. It was just like, oh man, here's a red flag. And it's like, I don't think that's a real red flag that you're just saying. Whatever. But it's
Linda literally forgetting she's dating someone.
I'm like, okay. I don't know. I think if I don't know. In my own mind, it's just like when I was interested in somebody and they started dating somebody. It's like, okay, like you go do that thing, and then when they broke up, it's like it was never in my mind to pursue them as soon as they broke up. Mm-hmm. I was just like, they need time to like get out of. Hello,
the
fire
answer
department.
to the fire alarm.
Yeah.
There they go.
Yeah, they never put on the alarm that early. They must have knew we were recording. But it's just like it. I always came from the mindset of just like, okay, if people just freshly broke up,
give them space.
They need that time to be like, figure all that stuff out. Like that's one of the things I know that me and my brothers were kind of talking about. My dad, when my mom passed, is just like he needs time to remember what it's like to be single. He didn't really listen to that advice, but it's like
some people are really bad at that. I know plenty of people in my life that it's like they're really sad, and then the next week they're like, I met somebody. I was like, what?
Yeah, I don't understand it. And it's just like, I don't know. Whenever I meet somebody, it's just like, oh, that's a person. And then it's like later, it's like months later, were they hitting on me? Actually, no, that's true. If people are hitting on me, I don't even recognize it, even later. And then when people tell me, I was like, no, you stop lying, you silly goose.
Yeah, so then continuing on this, you mentioned that, you're upset. You've been upset with Linda about how she's been approaching this whole Ted situation.
This whole series is me being upset at Linda.
Did you like that Rebecca, her close friend and old roommate, immediately told Linda, you're the one that likes Ted? Exactly.
It's just like she got like the wake up call from everybody, like from Rose, from Rebecca. That's all I think she talked to this episode.
Yeah, because Linda was like, here, let me show you reasons why you should date Ted. I have the reverse search algorithm looking up Ted right now. Look at Ted and his arms. Mm-hmm. Look at Ted and his daughter. And Rebecca goes, oh my god, you like Ted? And she's like, no, I think you'd make a cute couple. And she's like, no, you totally like Ted. And she's like, look, if you date Ted, then he's off the market. And Rebecca's like, I'm not dumb, Linda.
Yeah. And so what's really funny is that it works. Like they end up going out on a date, and it's like part of me just wonders if it's just like Rebecca's like, fine, I'm gonna go through with this. And
well, Ted doesn't seem to say that they confirm a second date. He just says he would like to see her again.
Yeah.
But are you surprised? Yeah, you kind of mentioned this, but are you surprised that everything backfired for Linda?
Oh yeah. No, I mean, sorry, no. I wasn't surprised. Like, it's like one of those things. I'm like, it's like the one thing I'm like kind of curious about. And like, I don't know. I think if I didn't look at the IMDb and found out that Rebecca's only in that one episode, but it could, I don't know. She could just never. She could have been in the second season. Yeah. Yeah, or she might not even be like, she could be just mentioned but doesn't come to the office. But I don't know. It's like the one thing that I think progresses the overall story of this show.
Yeah, because Linda finally realizes, she's like, I've been trying to run away from all this, but you know what? I like him. But then she immediately, like we said, she sabotaged herself by trying to force Ted to date someone else. And Ted's like, you know what? You're a good matchmaker. And Linda's like, ah-ha-ha.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's like, oh my goodness. I don't know if you guys can hear that truck outside.
For a little bit.
But it's like one of those things where it's like this whole series, Linda has been blaming Ted for like, oh man, you want to date me or something, like you're still interested in me, and she kept pushing everything on Ted, and then it's like the last episode, it's just like, no, that street was like 50-50, and it all like you shouldn't have been dating your ex anyway.
you were sending signals. You clearly were like, you were dating Dom because he was nice, but like you also were like, because like
get him jealous.
Yeah, but because in the very beginning, she's like telling Veronica how uncomfortable she is with the idea of them moving in together. But Veronica, being Veronica, was like, "Why would I move in with your boyfriend?" And then it was like, "No, my boyfriend and me move in together." And Veronica's like, "Where would I live?"
Yeah.
And then it's like, "Are you listening?" Or no, "Are you sabotaging this conversation?" And Veronica's like, "Only until this meeting." And then she starts like booking it.
Yeah, just runs into me. Yeah, then Linda comes in the door slightly down the hallway into the same room.
The comedy bits are always good. But yeah, is there anything else? You said that was your only note. Is there anything else you wanted to mention about this episode? Because I realized we have been talking for an hour now.
Mm-hmm. Well, if we can also continue the unrecorded times. I think the only thing that is fun to think about is like, I think just as we mentioned, Phil's whole kind of storyline of when he looks himself up and then finds his doppelganger. I think that I also thought that was a really interesting story where he's just like, wait, I could be cool if I was just confident, and then like they experiment and it's happens in all the worst ways.
Yeah, because what is it? He theorizes that he can pretend to be confident and trick other people into thinking he's confident, and then he decides to hit on someone at the gym. And when he finds out she has a boyfriend, instead of going, "Oh, my bad," he goes,
doubles down.
Yeah, he goes, "Do you know her number? Because she'll be calling me later." It's like, yep. Phil.
And so yeah, so it's just all that going on, and then I like the end of his storyline where it's like him and Lem, like he's like, yeah, and like I think Lem's the one that says like, hey, but your confidence made that man feel threatened where you were a threat, and he's just like, oh yeah, I guess so, and he's like, yeah, but I'm done doing the experiment. he's like that's just not me, and
I like Lem says something like, surely there's a middle ground between the two, and Phil's like, nope, it's either not confident at all scientist or super confident, get my butt beat, so I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna lean in. I'm just gonna be my old self.
So yeah, I guess the one other thing is like, so this is what how many times have you watched this before?
I think two.
So this is your third watch?
Yeah, but it's been a couple of years since I've watched it. Because I think I watched it entirely, and then I recommended it to someone, and then we watched it together. And then it's been a couple of years, and then now I'm watching it again.
Overall, as your third watch through, like, how would you rank this? Like, did you find it more enjoyable? Like, because I'm gonna guess you didn't dive in deep with your other watches like we did.
Yeah, I think
this.
I would probably put this at like a 6 or 7 out of 10 enjoyable, in terms of I kind of realized I remember maybe 1 or 2 major scenes from each episode, but not necessarily. So this
is your cell.
Yeah, but how they connected. But I mean, at least the cell, or no, at least for Better Off Ted.
Yes.
Yeah. At least Better Off Ted didn't make me physically feel bad for recommending it to you. But I think it was more enjoyable because, I put it at a 6 or 7 because I think the ongoing thread of Linda and Ted gets beaten like a dead horse. Like yes.
Yeah.
But otherwise, like, I kind of didn't really remember the episode where they had to share offices, and that was just very fun, very enjoyable to re-experience and go, because like I already know who the characters are and how it all develops, so it's just fun to kind of sit back and watch the nonsense happen. But for your first watch through, what would you put this show at? For season 1.
Like I enjoyed it, but I don't rewatch stuff unless I absolutely have to. So, I don't know. Like as we said in the beginning, sitcoms are not my normal thing to watch, and I didn't like. I think overall, like, I would think I would give it like I don't know, like the 5, 6, like average like stuff, like where it's just like. I think I said also earlier, like if I wasn't doing this for the show, I probably wouldn't keep watching it. But because I'd keep watching it. I'm like, okay, I can kind of tell the story beats and stuff and some of the characters where I'm like, okay, I like where there was by the time I think there was just parts like I'm like, okay, I like it when Rose comes up or when Veronica has to like, there's like parts if Veronica's just not in the background where it's just like people have to talk with Veronica and then like realize how insane she is, and then like Dr. Bomba just doing whatever he's doing. So it's just like I think I liked a lot of the secondary characters more. You know, Veronica is I guess one of the main characters, but it's just like it's like, you know what, it'd be a very interesting show where they didn't have the Ted and Linda stuff in it. Like a part of me wonders like how would this show be like if it was like more unhinged, the office experiments. I'm like, would I have liked that a little bit better and had like a loosely like story thread through it?
Yeah, because I mean, you do enjoy Always Sunny, and like the threads in that are really only that the gang hangs out with each other.
Yeah.
And there isn't really, well, I guess they're stuck with the bar, but otherwise, like the threads are very loose.
Yeah, but it's like there's the whole episode where Mac is fat, and then in the next season he loses all that weight, and and that's a thing that goes on, and then, it's like just recently. He's like, guys, I think I'm gay, and everyone's like, we know. And so like there are story beats I think that go in there. It's just I do think the story is weak in that they thought that they needed to have some thread that they had to keep poking at, and that thread happened to be the romance element, and it's kind of, it gets tired very quick. Because some of the episodes we liked a lot are ones where the romance thread was either like put on pause or they recognized that it wasn't going anywhere and then they kind of just stopped. Like the sharing office spaces one. Like the romantic elements were still there, but the more of the tension was just they can't stand each other in the workplace. Yeah. Like yeah, because like the episode 3 and 4 I thought were really fun. That's the kind of the one where they bring Rose into the office.
And then they have the Lem kind of shine as a character for episode 4.
Episode 4 with racial sensitivity. I'm just scrolling through. Oh, the Get Happy one where Ted has to hang out with the old people was that was just not comfy. Yeah, Bioshuffle was a good one. And then Trust and Consequences, where Dr. Bomb is like, I am the drug addict.
Yeah, because a lot of those, like, they didn't, like, repeat over and over and over again about them being, like, on and off.
Yeah, I think I would have enjoyed it more instead of, like, if it was just, like, here's the event that is happening. And, like, here's the thing that's happening in this office. How do we deal with it? Like the Bioshuffle and the Trust the Consequences, like, oh man, the offices are closed down and tensions are running high because office space is at a minimum. Trust and Consequences, there really isn't time to be like, oh, like, and they could probably still do all that stuff, but it's like, no, the big thing is our office is about to be like imagine the Father Can You Hear Me, it was still fun, but like, can you imagine, like, while they're testing it, that hair gets through the ventilation system and then
and
it's
just
like
everywhere.
It's everywhere.
On random floors.
Yeah, and it's like that's the episode where it's just like, how do we fix this? It's a completely different show, but
yeah, like the romance is kind of like we get it. So yeah, that would have been a lot more interesting. But overall, I'm glad you would at least give it average and you didn't absolutely despise it. All right, but
actually, one last thing I was just thinking about. If people are interested in that, while I was watching this, there's bits and pieces that reminded me of one of the first podcasts I listened to. I don't even know if they still do episodes, but it's called Mars Corp, and it's a UK production where it's kind of the same thing where they're sending people to Mars, and it's this corporation where they're like mining Mars, and it's so far in the future where it's like actually this whole system of people living on there. It's a comedy, and there's a lot of parts where it's just like, okay, this is definitely like kind of office kind of humor and like everything of just what do we got to figure out. Like they pretty much find the main character who just came from Earth, and like she was in a cryopod, and they're like yep, just like, hey, how you doing? She's like trying to adjust. He's like, it's like, yeah, it was only like 3 years, right? Or like a 3-year transport, or no, it was like 6 months for me to get here or something like that. And it was frozen cryo, and it's like, yeah, it's been like 300 years. What? And she's like, yeah, we just kind of found you in storage. And she's like, wait, what? and like it goes from there of just like the craziness of like just this company and like bumbling kind of government running all of Mars, which is owned by this corporation. So a little bit different thing, but it's a pretty fun listen.
Yeah, I looked it up. Apparently, it's a 12-part series, according to the Spotify description. Mm-hmm. So it stopped in, I think it was from 2016 to 2017, if I was looking
episodes.
At it. I sent you a link to the website of the production company, and they have a ton of just, like...
Yes, they have they kind of shifted from there because Mars Corp, they have other stuff where they did D&D, like they started doing other stuff.
Okay.
But, yeah, it's... Oh, that's right. They did season 1, and then they were trying to get funding for season 2, but yeah.
Oh, I see. Via Patreon.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm not on their Patreon, so I don't know if they did other stuff. But like they do. I liked most of their content. Like another.
So sorry. It says on their Patreon they want $1,000 per month to make Mars Corp 2. They're at $927.76 out of $1,000 per month.
Yeah, like Mars Corp cost like it was a big production. Like so their other stuff like the group is called Definitely Human. So the Infinite Bad is kind of like a Call of Cthulhu story thing, which it's pretty good. Pax Fortuna, I think that's like their attempt at D&D. I didn't get too much into that.
Yeah, it does say it's a comedy fantasy role-playing podcast.
Yeah. But Down is a really interesting one. That's just a short series, and it's 24 parts, and it's shorter, but I think the episodes are shorter, but it was really good. Like I do like when they put stuff out. Like some of the stuff I'm like, I didn't even realize. Like I don't even know what this Hello Human stuff is. But it's very much UK humor. They're based in the UK, and like if you enjoy like UK storytelling and just stuff like that, it's worth giving a listen. But like Mars Corp, I think Mars Corp is probably a good place to start because it's. I understand why they needed so much because there's a lot of like if you look through, there's a lot of actors and like production stuff they need to do that. So, yeah, they're worth. I think they're worth checking out. So.
Yeah. So. My stomach is telling me it is time to wrap up this episode.
The time is telling me we should probably wrap up because I should be streaming in about 30 minutes, but I gotta make dinner.
Oh boy. Anyway, so then thank you everybody. If you've listened this far, we always appreciate it. Double appreciate ratings, reviews, comments, interactions on Twitter at twitter.com/pointlessdisco. At Twitter is where you can yell at us if we haven't given you a shout out via our announcements each week. And stay tuned to watch, or not watch with us, but hear us talk about watching the Predator series coming up next week. Woo.
Mm-hmm. And thank you. I didn't look it up, but you know what? It's also good to say. I wish we did a more for Scud song. But yeah, the opening, the intro and outro are Hello by Linda Ray. Woo! Okay. Well, bye-bye.